Hey guys, before we go bananas with Chase Hooper, let's thank a couple of our sponsors. First of all, Warhammer Fightwear. Check them out at warhammerfightwear.com. Follow their Instagram page at Warhammer Fightwear. Guys, they have some of the best gear in all of MMA. Some stuff for the ladies, the kids, and of course us men. Guys, I wear the dry fit tee on the daily. Guys, check out warhammerfightwear.com. You can also hit them up on the Amazon app, warhammerfightwear.com. Also, N-Still Nutrition. Check out nstillnutrition.com. Their supplements are at the top of the game, guys. Check out nstillnutrition.com. I take the Joints as a chew almost every single day. Keeps my body going. 35 years in my prime. It also makes your hair look pretty good. Guys, talking about hair, let's talk to Chase Hooper. Guys, he had one of the great 2020s in mixed martial arts and didn't even fight. Chase is the Jordan of social media skills in mixed martial arts. I want to talk about Chase Hooper, about Fight Island, social media, and so much more. Let's go bananas right now with Chase Hooper. All right, guys, on the Fight Bananas hotline, my main man, Chase Hooper. How you doing, brother?
Good. Just, trying to get through all the boredom of Corona stuff and just trying to find ways to entertain myself and not get roped into too many home improvement projects, but hanging in there.
Awesome, man. So many things I want to go start with you about that. For one, I don't know if you saw, and if you are a basketball fan of Michael Jordan and The Last Dance, and lately, like on social media, people are like, who's the Jordan of this and the Jordan of MMA and the Jordan of this? Okay, I'm going to do a bold prediction. I think you're the Michael Jordan of MMA social media. No one does it better than you, my man. I love it. If it's not interviewing Masvidal, the memes with Askren and Sugar, the Eminem stuff, I think you're absolutely, you're the Jordan of it. How important is it to you? Is it just, pure fun? Is it a name? Is it a way to get your name keep going and out there? You haven't fought in this calendar year, but your stock has risen so much in 2020. Just take me through, the Chase Hooper social media skills.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of all of those things. It's fun. And, it definitely keeps my name out there. And it just kind of keeps everything going. Like after the Masvidal stuff, my social media following just doubled.
Right.
It's definitely helped keep things going, especially, cause just the months between fights, it's so hard to kind of keep putting yourself out there. And that's, kind of my way of doing it. And it's worked out so far.
Right, and one thing I don't think people understand, maybe just the simple MMA fan, right? It's vital to keep your name out there and your social media skills, and to people to kind of keep following you and entertain you. Let's just be blunt and honest about it. If Shelby or Maynard, they're about to set up a fight, and it's between someone else and just say Chase Hooper, and they're like, man, did you see Chase with the M&M's commercial on UFC Fight Pass? You see him interviewing Masvidal, guys, we got to get Chase the fight. We got to keep him going. I just think it's crucial to your career, not even with sponsors and stuff of that nature, but do you think it is a little, you kind of get into the UFC's brass in their heads that we got to keep Chase Hooper going. Is that a little bit of it?
100%. It's
cool.
Like all these guys doing call outs and stuff. That's kind of their way of doing it, is by, by trying to call people out or kind of trash talk people. But for me, I don't think that doesn't really fit my personality. If I were to do that, it would just seem pretty fake. So I don't, I'm not that type of guy. So
right.
More just memes and stuff. I think that stuff's funny to me. So that's kind of why I do it. And if other people think it's funny or they have a good time with it, then that's kind of, that's a bonus.
Oh, for sure, dude. People love it. And talking about that, guys, on Instagram, Chase Hooper's at CHOOP556. The Twitter game's Chase_Hooper. Give him a follow. It's the best. He is the Michael Jordan of MMA social media. It's unbelievable. Also, is on the UFC Fight Pass, is that Chase and stories and stuff? Is that a real thing? Are you kind of funny? Are you making fun? Is that real? Are you gonna have a show?
I don't know. We'll see.
Really? Okay, if that happens,
we'll see how much content I can put out for it. But Yeah, I don't know. It'd be fun.
It would be, dude. I don't think you would have any problem with content. You're just, like I said, you're so good to follow. And how funny was it? I don't know if you remember. I think you were on a vacation. You were taking your girl somewhere. You're traveling the world, which is cool. I kind of want to talk about that in a second with MMA. But I see you in a beautiful flamingo T-shirt. And then I go to my wife, I go, I'm wearing literally the same shirt that Chase Hooper's wearing on the plane right now, and I sent you that picture. I just feel like you can turn content very easily with you traveling a lot and just, your personality. I think you would be unbelievable on a show like that, my man.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm not, I get all my clothes from Marshalls and or Target. So I'm not wasting all my money on clothes yet, so.
Not yet, right?
Still bargain shopping and all that.
Absolutely. But, okay, so we can't have a mixed martial art podcast right now without bringing up the C word with Corona and the pandemic. How are you dealing with it? How are you training? Are you weight cutting at all? Because your name has been out there a little bit with this 249. I know you've kind of been going back and forth. So how are you dealing with this pandemic?
Yeah, so I was supposed to be on the San Diego card,
right,
May 16th, which I think the other day just got officially canceled.
Yes, sir.
But in the time before that, I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I kind of thought of it more as if a flight gets canceled, the people that, had their flight canceled, they have to move back. But the people who didn't, they're still going to be on time.
Right.
So I didn't know, I didn't know if I would still be fighting May 16th or not. But, so I was kind of unsure until we got to do that little, talk with Dana and stuff where he was he kind of just brought everything up. He was saying, hey, everything's going to get pushed back. And because the venue's different and the date would be different, you're going to need new contracts. So at least now I have, I guess, the security of knowing that I'm not going to be fighting without knowing, I guess.
Right.
It's not just going to be all right, you're fighting still.
Right. So if that's the case, is there any chance of a new name, a new fight, totally for you? Do you want to keep the same fight? What's that for you?
I think best case scenario would be keeping the same fight.
Okay.
But just maybe getting a little more time to kind of train for it.
Okay.
And to just cause I have to adapt, just like everybody else with all this quarantine stuff. You can't diet the same way because I'm not able to work out,
right.
5-6 hours a day like I was before. Now it's half that. So it's definitely harder to manage the dieting part. And then, I'm not able to bring in all these guys and train like I would before. I actually had a couple of different training trips scheduled to try to get guys with, similar styles to what, my opponent would have. And, because of all the virus stuff, that didn't work out. So now that's another hard part is I'm not going to be able to get that same amount of cross training, but, I don't know. I feel like I'm able to kind of adapt and, I think this would be a good fight for me. If I got a little more time and the restrictions and stuff were able to open up, I think I'd like to keep my same opponent for sure.
Gotcha. And you got to think about it in a way that everyone is dealing with it. I know a lot of people down there, American Top Team, Coconut Creek, and no one's training the same. It's just people are training, 2 or 3 in one gym, in one one garage. Someone's training at home and doing this. So it's just kind of across the board. And that's probably where I will last thing about the whole Corona thing, and then we'll move on to fun fight stuff is – people aren't understanding. People are like, oh, the gyms are closed. That stinks. I can't work out. But I'm like, I've been a really strong advocate for you guys, the fighters. this is your 9 to 5. Like, this is where a banker banks. You guys work out in the gym to, prove your skills, improve your body, and or maintain what you guys have. You guys need the gym. This is your 9 to 5. This is, your banker or the postman, whatever. So when people say, hey, close the gyms, it's not as essential. I totally disagree. You're taking a lot of livelihoods, fighters, and, everyone else underneath. There's so much to do with the mixed martial arts game. That there's with podcasts and referees, and there's just media. There's so much involved. So, how are you in the side of, guys, we got to open the gyms back? You really want to get the gyms going, and you and 5-10 people, are you okay with kind of sitting back and being a little bit more hesitant about, opening up and being really serious with this, the virus?
I think it's hard because, it's not necessarily just the fact that it's I guess illegal right now. It's banned to have this stuff going on. It's, I think, more the social factor. If people in the community find out that the gym is open and they're not with it, they'll start, kind of shitting on it, and they're not going to support your gym in the future. You don't,
right.
It's hard because you can't, just sacrifice your livelihood, I guess, for the fighters. Because statistically the fighters aren't going to make you as much for as long of a period of time as, just the people that bring their kids in and stuff like that support you long term. There's more of those people, and they're more consistent. So that's kind of where all the money for these gyms kind of comes from.
Sure.
And it's hard because you can't isolate yourself from the community just by doing whatever you want. But I think that the demographic of people that goes to gyms that works out isn't necessarily they're not going to be harmed too much by, if they were to kind of contract something. But that's kind of the argument that people have been having is you're gonna, pass it to somebody else. And that's more the problem that people have with it. But, I don't know. I feel like you can kind of self-isolate. It's hard just because more the social shaming aspect of it.
Right.
For me, at least.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, man. Guys, we're talking to Chase Hooper, UFC superstar. Gosh, what a 2020. Not even fighting, but the name is just growing by leaps and bounds. Okay, are you a big fan of Fight Island? Do you think it's going to happen? Did Dana talk about it in your call? Is Fight Island real?
That's one of the things he emphasized. He said, Fight Island is real. It is happening.
Wow.
Sounded like sometime in June, so who knows? But it kind of seemed like he was talking about, I'm sure it's already out there anyways, but he was talking about trying to have the Apex going too. He's trying to work with the governor and stuff down there.
Right.
So we'll kind of see if I'm able to end up on one of those cards, which is what it sounded like I would be able to. He said all the people that have contracts will be kind of the first up. They'll be able to fight whenever.
Yeah, we wrote about that on fightbananas.com, my main man, where we wrote about how they are going to have the Apex going pretty soon, probably, in a couple weeks by the latest. And then I've been asking fighters, would you rather, fight in the Apex, a little bit more, a lot of people, you guys have been there. It's a beautiful little building. The training, the rooms are great. Or would you rather fight in somewhere new, something kind of iconic, probably a once in a lifetime? This Fight Island is getting so much good press in a way, especially on the fighter side. Would you rather do Apex or would you rather fight on Fight Island?
I don't know. That's kind of tough. I'd like to do the Apex because I know about it. I already know kind of the setup with the Performance Institute and stuff.
Right.
All the weight cut stuff is kind of guaranteed. You're by the PI. They can help you with all the dieting stuff. But definitely, Fight Island seems super cool. It's definitely a once in a lifetime type of thing. And it would just be, it's definitely one of those things to kind of put on a resume.
Right.
I took a private jet to fight on a private island. That'd be super cool.
Yeah, definitely something to tell the kids about for sure. And that's so funny. It's going to lead into my next thing. It's really hard for people that don't understand mixed martial arts and don't get the UFC game and the business side of it. I'm such a huge fan of all mixed martial arts and especially UFC and what they do for so many people. Can you kind of, reveal what has MMA done for you? Something like you just said, you can get on a private jet and travel the world. Everything that you've been doing, over the last, 4 or 5 years total, but especially in this last 18 months, this ride with a Contender Series on, what has MMA done for you personally and opened the doors for you financially?
It's been my livelihood. Like, it's kind of given me something to, to strive for. Like, when I started training at like 8 years old, there wasn't necessarily like a goal in mind with it. I was just kind of doing it because I was a little kid. My parents signed me up for this, but it's definitely given me something to kind of, fall back on over the years, to kind of just laser focus on and kind of keep me, to keep me sane, I guess, to keep me doing something, keep me active. And, I've been able to turn it into, a career so far. So I'm trying to, see how long I can keep going with this, try to, travel the world, enjoy life, and, just kind of, do something I love, not have to have like a typical 9-to-5 job, and, just see how far I can go with it. But it's, definitely given me more than it's given most people so far.
Yeah.
Being that it's such a, brutal career path.
It is. It's so tough, man. And then I always say in football, you play high school, you play Pop Warner as a kid, you go to high school, you get a Division I scholarship, and you get drafted. There's like a road, there's a map. In MMA, especially, UFC, there's just no map. You can be 18-0, 3-3, Contender Series, called up, short notice. There's just really no map. So it's unbelievable so far what you have done. If question for you, what's, 2022, if I said, you would be the featherweight UFC champion or you receive your black belt, what would you rather have?
Ooh, I think black belt's probably coming up pretty quick. So that's probably the more realistic one.
Okay.
That'd definitely be cool for me just because I put so much time into, like jiu-jitsu and stuff for my whole life growing up.
Right.
And as far as like belts and stuff go, like that's not really even on my peripherals yet. I'm kind of I'm just trying to take things slow and kind of, work my way up. Like as you saw with like Max Holloway, he got in at 19 too, just like me. And it took him a couple years to kind of work his way up the division, and that's kind of what I want to do is take it nice and slow, just kind of, stack the money up, kind of secure myself financially,
right.
Build my skill set, build my experience, and kind of go from there.
I think it's better for you long term too. So when you get to those top tier fights, when Volkanovski's and Zabits and all that stuff, you're ready. You're maybe your mid 20s or 23, 24 in that range. Maybe next year might be a tad early for those tag guys, not skill-wise, just to get your body bigger and right and all that. I just think long-term for you, I'm agreeing with you. The Max Holloway road is a perfect, one to follow. We're going to talk about Max Holloway later. We have a little fun segment at the end. We call it First Bite. It's like 5-10 seconds on each couple fighters I got named for you. But I want to talk about the featherweight division. New champion with Volkanovski. I think we talked about that last time you were on the show. But one thing I really want to hit on is I love the youth. You, of course, included Zabit, Sadiq Yusuf, Arnold Allen, Mike Beast Boy Davis. I just love this new juice that's in the division. I think it's probably maybe the hottest division. And in 2-3 years, when all you guys are all on the come up, 2023 is going to be an insane year for the featherweight division. Do you feel the same way? Do you kind of see that youth coming up through this division too?
Yeah, definitely. Or just, like the sport in general. It's definitely getting to that younger, like level of fighters. There's definitely more like young people coming up. Like, I feel like I'm just on the younger end of the spectrum, and everybody's kind of, in a couple of years, I think there'll be a lot of, maybe 20-year-olds kind of jumping into the UFC because they've been training. They kind of came up with it too. I feel like I'm just kind of,
like a
sort of like ahead of the curve a little
bit,
but I think there's a lot of people kind of following.
I agree. I agree. The sport is growing leaps and bounds. You're a tiny bit ahead of it, but yeah, in the next 3-4 years, especially Fight Island. I think people are just going to more eyes are on it than ever. Especially through this pandemic. It's just insane. Real quick, what's your take on, it looks like they had Holloway versus Volkanovski booked. Now we know kind of it's not, and hopefully maybe it'll get rebooked. Do you think that is absolutely the rematch that needs to happen? Or there's a lot of people, yelling for that title shot against Alexander the Great. So what do you think should be next for him?
Hernandez for the 45 belt?
Really?
Is that what you're saying?
No. Like it's Volkanovski versus Holloway.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think that'd definitely be a good fight. I could see maybe if Korean Zombie and Zabit fight, if they kind of get that figured out, I could see that for number one contender spot.
Yeah.
I could see it going between either which one of those two wins and Holloway. Because I don't think Holloway necessarily deserves or would need to fight for a number one contender spot just because he had the belt for a while. He had it for a couple years.
Right.
And he's pretty dominant with it. I could see it going either way. I'm definitely more into the new fights rather than the old fights that just get repeated.
Right.
But yeah, I think it'd be interesting.
And I agree with you, and I just think time-wise it works out if, like you said, Korean Zombie versus Zabit, and they fight the winner of Max and Alexander. The one little problem is that what could hiccup and I would, in a weird way not like, is if Max Holloway wins in kind of a 5-round war, then they might want to throw that trilogy fight in there, and there just really stags up that top of that division, which we just talked about. There's so many contenders. We haven't mentioned Brian Ortega, and there's just so many guys towards the top that you don't want to have Volkanovski versus Max Holloway for 18 months and not have any new blood in this great division of the featherweight. So it's tough. It really is.
I mean, you're kind of seeing the same thing with Ferguson Khabib. It's kind of, slowing everything up.
Right.
And, there's so many people kind of waiting for their turn, waiting for their chance, and it's kind of, they're just getting put on hold. Or they're having to take tough fights just to kind of pass the time by. And then, that's making the division even tougher. Those guys that are in that, number 2, number 3 spot are at the top of the division. They've already fought all these tough fights, and they're just kind of waiting for their shot still.
Right. Chase, man, we've talked a couple of times, and I think you know this about me. I'm a glass half full guy, always happy, always smiling, always just wrestling with the kids. But I got to tell you the truth. This Ferguson Habib, they got to let it go. We just got to move on in life. I'm over it. I'm done with it. It's never going to happen. Why? We'll just move on. Gaethje's awesome. Let's have a Gaethje fight. Let's put Conor up there. Let's just go back and forth. Are you with me on that? I'm done with Habib and Ferguson. Never again, please.
I could go either way with it. I think, if it was gonna be that short notice fight, where it was like a week out that Gaethje signed to fight Ferguson, that's when that makes sense to me for 249 to kind of save the cards and to keep Ferguson on there. He's already ready to fight. That makes sense. But for me, them pushing it back a little bit so they can both have more time to prepare, I don't see why they don't push it back another month or two. Try to throw Khabib on there and Ferguson, kind of have that again. But I don't know. It's hard because they've already tried to make it happen so many times.
Right.
Something always comes up.
Right.
It's definitely difficult.
The problem with that is Habib is taking, with his religious, he's taking a month or 2 months off. So then, I think the next time he can fight is late August, early September. So if Ferg, who's been training his ass off in mysterious ways, but been training his ass off, you just don't know, Tony Ferguson doesn't want to wait till September. And then, what does that do with Gaethje and Conor? It's a mess, man. It really is. Okay, this is, like I said, this is fun little, we call it first bite. Chase, probably 5-10 seconds, the first things that kind of come up. I got 6 names for you, and we'll see where it goes, all right? All right, first one on the list, George Masvidal.
Ooh. Probably, American Top Team, knocking out Ben Askren. Let's see, Street Jesus.
Yeah, those are good ones. Frankie Egner.
Ooh. Uncle Frankie. Definite legend of the sport. Oof. I don't know, East Coast.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Definitely big East Coast icon over
there. Sugar Shane O'Malley.
Weed, tattoos, and sweet afro.
Dude, that's literally Sugar Shane O'Malley. That's what it says on his gravestone. That's him.
For sure.
Alexander Volkanovski.
Ooh. Short, Australian, but jacked.
Ben Askren.
Ooh. Dad bod. Pro. Not the greatest UFC career.
All right. And last one, Joe Rogan.
Ooh. The voice of the UFC, probably. Iconic. Probably the richest podcaster out there.
Yeah. His YouTube money is just outrageous. That's just YouTube. Oh, man. Awesome. Chase, man, we always love talking to you. The floor is yours if you want to promote anything or any kind of sponsorships. Times are lean without there. So give you the floor, Chase. Always love having you on the Fight Bananas podcast.
Yeah, I think we got all the social media stuff out of the way earlier, so I'm pretty much good.
Cool, brother. Well, like I said, man, appreciate you. Hopefully you guys will fight soon on Fight Island, and we'll talk to you after that. Big fan, man. Really loving your rise. 2020 has been awesome for you, even outside the octagon. So very happy for you, Chase, and we'll talk to you real soon, my man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, brother.
All right.
There it was, guys. What a great interview, man. We love Chase Hooper here on the Fight Bananas podcast. Just a huge fan of him inside and outside the octagon. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just so... Guys, careers come and go. There's only, if you're not Michael Bisping or, like the legend, the icon Frankie Edgar, it's hard to have 20, 30 fights inside that cage. And one thing I love Chase is doing, he's setting himself up for outside the octagon. With sponsors, with M&Ms, his show. He really could. He could have a show on UFC Fight Pass. I've always said this is something I kind of wanted to do. I guess I'm spilling the beans. Like, I would love to have, not a talk show, but kind of like, Ariel does it once a week, but he has 8 fighters on. But it's more just really quick interviews, and most of them are, on Skype and, other streams and of that nature. I would love some kind of like once a week or once a month, some kind of show with a studio, and you can have an octagon in there. You can show people skills. You can have, watch, Uriah Faber come in and teach him this, or you can have Showtime Pettis teach him the kick off the cage, and have, interviews with fighters, and maybe some of the fighters, they can work on they can show a different talent, a musician talent or some magic or something like that. It's always good that the fighters, UFC fighters, connect to the public. That's why we're on this George Masvidal bandwagon. We're connecting with them. We're seeing them this rise. The 3-piece in the soda, Street Jesus. We're with Masvidal. We're starting to connect with Chase Hooper. We love this kid, and we want more. I think it's always good to have more shows. We can do it on UFC Fight Pass. Guys, I'll take, a salary and just percentage. I just want points off the top. Guys, I'm Dave Van Auken. You can follow me on every social media platform, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at David Van Auken. Spell it correctly. Follow my main man, Chase Hooper, on Instagram, CHOOP556, or on the Twitter, Chase_Hooper. Guys, thank you so much for staying with us. What an unbelievable month so far of April. We blasted through every single number we've ever had. Subscribers, downloaders, listeners, iHeartRadio. Thank you so much. We've been killing it on iHeartRadio. Thank you, guys. It's been awesome. We've had some awesome guests. We've had some fun time here on the Fight Bananas podcast. And we got so much more coming. Trust us on that one. All right, guys? I'm Dave Van Auken. We are crazy about fights. Guys, stay safe out there, stay home, and stay bananas.